Hi everybody, welcome back to Smirking Gun. I'm Rob. I'm here to do my video reaction and review for Xmen Apocalypse. Just to get started, I want to rank the X-Men movies. I think Days of Future Past is my favorite, followed by First Class, X2, X1, and then this, going from highest to lowest. So then this, then X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then X3. This is not the worst X-Men movie. It is definitely not the best X-Men movie. X-Men, when I was in high school, was, besides Batman, was my favorite comic book in the early 90s, all the way, they're still my favorite. I've been catching up on a lot of stuff lately. That being said, also, I believe that if Fox was really smart, if they wanted to cash in like the Harry Potter franchise and Hunger Games, and you know how Avengers is going to split up their Infinity War movie, this would have been the movie for them to split into two. I say that because there's so much that they're trying to tell. Like Civil War, how we know that Marvel's Civil War did it really good with all the mixing of characters, and they did it right. But this movie, if you've ever watched the 90s cartoon or any of the read any of the comic books, these are epic stories whenever Apocalypse is involved. So much is going on. And I think it would have done the story and the franchise, financially at least too, more justice to what needed to be done. This just felt like the first hour was just a lot of different characters teaming up, like finding people. Like with Mystique rescuing mutants, with, Apocalypse trying to find his four horsemen, with, I don't know. It just, the first hour was like really slow, and I was looking at the time, and I was like, man, usually in a story like with Apocalypse, or in a lot of superhero movies, or movies where they go in for the first conflict and they kind of get their ass handed to them, and then they pull it together, and in the end they beat the hero, or the villain, the main villain. Sorry, beat the hero. Who knows? But I would have thought that they, if they really wanted to, they could have split this up. Have it where everything's on the, they've just been ripped apart, and everything's at their lowest, and that's where they cut out the movie and they make the second one, and everybody's like, what happened, what's gonna happen? And I feel like this movie could have definitely been two parts. One of the other things, if we can have a movie where a guy can be really small and then be really big in a sequence that is very convincing, done with the CGI, why can't we have a 7-foot tall Apocalypse? I mean, I know we had that. There's that scene where they're like in the astral plane or whatever, I think, and he gets all big real quick. But he doesn't have to be that big. But he needed to be more intimidating. Oscar Isaac's a really good actor, but he was like shorter than Magneto. He was a small guy. He wasn't intimidating. And just because they show his power, we can turn into things, into dust and things. Which is another thing. Like, if he could do that, why didn't he just like turn everybody into dust? Like anybody he came up against. Like, why didn't he just kill everybody that was in his way? What's the big deal? But I digress, because there was good stuff. I mean, everybody was good. Fassbender was great as usual. McAvoy was, good. I like that they brought back Rose Byrne. I was just a little disappointed they brought back, Alex Summers Havoc, and they kill him. He's supposed to be the younger brother of Scott, but I digress. Comic nerd stuff. Didn't really care about Cyclops, and if you do like Cyclops, hey, good on you. I've never really cared about Cyclops. Sophie Turner, otherwise known as Sansa Stark, was pretty good as Jean Grey. Again, I've never really been the biggest fan of the original X-Men characters. I like Beast, Iceman, I like Beast and Iceman. I've never really had much I never really cared about Jean Grey or Cyclops or Angel until he became Archangel, and then, they made him dark and shit, and that was pretty awesome. But, there was all these other things. Like, Olivia Munn as Psylocke was basically barely in this movie. And all you could tell was, like, she was a bad guy. She was the only one that was kind of, like, all the way up front liking to be bad. And I didn't like that because Psylocke in the comics is an X-Man. Storm, it was nice that they actually got a girl that could pull off, the accent and everything. It felt like the young Mohawk Storm that we, knew in the first introduction of Storm in the comics. Angel was another Archangel. He was wasted in this. His character was just wasted. And again, Oscar Isaac I just never felt that intimidated by Apocalypse, and his his reasoning was always the same as in the comics, but it was just like boom, it was over. The movie was over, and I was just like, man, like they really just quickly, this is the guy that comes at them. They find a way to beat him, and then he comes back eventually a few years down the line to come up with a new thing, like most villains. In this, full spoilers, by the way, guys. I mean, I'm going to put that in the description, full spoilers. They kill him. Or, who knows, comic book movies are, based on comics, and they could maybe figure out a way to bring him back, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, full spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm spoiling it. My favorite scene was going to be, of course, when they're in the Weapon X facility and they find Wolverine in the old Weapon X headgear, and he just tears apart. And for me, that was just like a preview, like a PG-13 preview of the R-rated X-Men, Wolverine movie, Wolverine 3 that's coming out. Because he goes to town on these guys, man, and it was awesome. That was where I finally perked up, like completely had my attention. Nightcrawler was good, but again, they had to only use so much of everyone. Jennifer Lawrence, like people have been talking about, like she's mostly, Jennifer Lawrence, instead of looking like Mystique. Maybe it was because she didn't want to be in the makeup chair, or maybe, maybe it was too expensive to keep doing it. I don't know. But I digress. Jennifer Lawrence was fine in it. She's been one of the main three connectors in these movies. It's been, Magneto, Professor X, and Mystique pretty much for me in these movies, and Wolverine to just a very secondary, just a little bit lower than that. In these movies, but as of right now, I'd have to give it like a 6.5, maybe 7. It was good. It was entertaining, sort of. I mean, like, I wasn't just. I kind of knew what they weren't gonna like make any huge deaths in this. Were there any deaths besides Havoc? A bunch of people got killed by Wolverine, and there were, obviously probably some collateral damage. But again, I really feel like this was, it's gonna make some money. It's X-Men. People have been hyped for this. It's not as good as Civil War. It's better than Batman versus Superman. But it is like number 5. It's like in the middle of like how many X-Men movies have there been? So there's this one, Future Past, First Class, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X3, X2, X1. I guess it's kind of like right in the middle. And I wish I could say it was higher up. I wish I could, of the three, like there's a joke, there's a great in-joke, where Sophie Turner, they're coming out of seeing Return of the Jedi, and, Jubilee's saying that Empire's the best one, they weren't afraid to go dark, and Cyclops is saying, well, if it wasn't for the first one, we don't get the other ones, and then Jean goes, well, everybody can agree that the third one's the worst. And, that's a nice little in-joke saying, because this is the third in the X-Men First Class-ish trilogy, it was the worst of the three, and I don't know if they were predicting it or making a little joke like ha ha ha. Probably just making a little joke, but it is the worst of the three. And like I said, if they had actually split it up, and a lot of people, some people don't like being movies split up. They know that it's a ploy, but in this case, I think it really would have told a much better story. They could have given all the characters a lot more to do. Because you've got the established characters and all these new characters and all the things that, you want to have resolved, and then throwing in Wolverine in the mix, who wasn't, a lot of people didn't think he was going to be in this one, but they had to do it. They had to make sure that people were like, well, we're going to see Wolverine for a second, and that's enough to get more people in the seats. And it, kind of makes me feel bad that they feel like they can't make an X-Men movie without having Hugh Jackman in it. It's a testament to Hugh Jackman, but it's a detriment in the end, I think, to the future of the franchise, seeing as how Hugh Jackman wants to leave the series after Wolverine 3. But I'm very hopeful for that being rated R. I would love to, we've got Deadpool, that's another good one that's coming out. They need to take a few more chances now that they've built up this reputation now and they can do more. So I guess that's about it. The post-credit scene, though, again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, when the guy in the briefcase, with the briefcase, is in the Weapon X facility and they're cleaning up Wolverine's bloodbath, the guy goes in, grabs the vial that says Weapon X, puts it in the briefcase, it closes, it says Essex Corporation. So if anybody doesn't know what Essex means, well, there's a character named Mr. Sinister, and his real name is Nathaniel Essex. So that's definitely telling in either that in the next X-Men, I would say more likely that it's going to be a thing in the new Wolverine movie. So we could see Mr. Sinister, which is a very crazy cool villain, in the next Wolverine movie. Long shot, it could be in the next X-Men movie, or even possibly in the new Gambit movie, because Gambit does have a history with Mr. Sinister. Anyway, that's about it. I can't think of really, there's probably going to be a couple of things. Oh god, the Quicksilver scene. Jesus, how do you forget that? Again, they did a really great job with the major Quicksilver scene, to Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. That was really good. They upped their game on that. They topped the scene from Future Past. So Evan Peters as, Quicksilver was great. I really wish he would have told Magneto that he was his son, but whatever. Anyway, I can't believe I almost missed that. So, anyway, that's my reaction. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. So that's my reaction, my review. I give it a 6 point. I have to go like in the middle, so like 6.7, because like the movie, it's in the middle of the other one. So like 6.7, that's the best I can do. Maybe on second watching, I'll put it up to like 7.5. It was good, not great. It was a spectacle. It had a lot of things going on. It was very, very, good looking. But that's it. So this is Rob from Smirking Gun. If you watch this video, please like and subscribe my channel. Help me out. And that's about it. I will see you guys on the next video, which is probably going to be another game broadcast, or on my next Game of Thrones video. That'll be out on Monday morning, probably. So anyway, that's it, and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.